Hey there guys, what's going on? Gil right here. Welcome back to the YouTube channel once again for another Danmachi Memory of Freeze video, and today is a bit of an interesting video. A couple of days ago, I uploaded a video about the complete gear and weapon guide, basically, right? Talking about what you need to do when you're crafting weapons and crafting armor pieces. In that video, I got a comment asking me, well, is Hestia Knife actually better than the Hakugen? And I kind of sat there for a split second and I was thinking about it. First thing I thought was, yeah, the Hestia Knife is better because the Hestia Knife has a very unique feature. If we go over to it in the equipment list, right, and if we click weapon, we click physical dagger, and we go and see the Hestia Knife, you can see that it has Durandal first and foremost. But if you were to switch its details, you can see it also has a special unit effect only exclusive to Bell. It powers up the weapon indexed or scaling to his level. So the higher the level of your Bell, so if he's like level 80 for example, the max level you can be, the stronger the weapon is, or the strongest it can be, right? So in my thought process, I thought, yeah, it's stronger. It has to be stronger, right? Because what the Hakugen is, right? The Hakugen is basically the same type of weapon as any other weapon, right? So for example, if you look at Carnival Dagger, right? The one I have on Osvi, the Osvi's weapon, it has unit effect Osvi. Only Osvi can unlock its true powers, so it can only that Osvi is the only one who can unlock this attack stat basically on Carnival Dagger. It also has the STR plus 30 and the 2 criticals, right? Obviously the Hakugen that I have isn't fully built yet, but it can do the same thing as any other character signature weapon. The Hestia Knife is a very unique weapon, and I initially thought, well, the Hestia Knife is better, right? It has higher stats, it has because of course it indexes to Bell's power, right? And then of course with the addition of equipment ascension, right, we also had the opportunity to make it even stronger because it started to do more damage, right? Obviously with the ability to, you know, inflict minus 10% guard rate, to 3% penetration damage, and 3% crit damage, right? So I thought, okay, I think the Hestia Knife is better. I put that in the comments, but I even said that I may need to do testing to be able to give you a more concise answer. And well, this video is for that basically. We're going to be testing out the Hestia Knife and the Hakugen in various scenarios. And of course, if you guys going to enjoy this video, please do leave a like, subscribe to the channel, comment down below what do you guys think is the end result. I would be greatly appreciated to see what you guys think, because I want to see which one of you guys will get it right, because I don't know. I actually don't know. I think on paper it's the Hestia Knife, and I've heard murmurs saying that the Hestia Knife is better no matter what, but the Hakugen, I feel like it has some advantages over the Hestia Knife, and I'll explain it as we do the testing, okay? But before I get into that, I do need to craft a proper Hakugen, so I will be right back. I'll see you guys on the flip side. Alright, we are back, and it's been a while since I actually did the whole video segment, the last segment that you guys saw. It's been a while. It's been like a couple of hours since then, and I have crafted the Hakugen. It's the perfect Hakugen you could probably make, in my personal opinion, and we are going to take both the Hakugen and the Hestia Knife in a controlled environment. Now, this is where a little bit of my engineering degree will come out, in all honesty, so bear with me. But in order to get this test to be as accurate as we can get it to be, we're gonna do the test 3 times over in multiple scenarios. So the first scenario that I'm gonna be doing is basically taking Bell into a stage, the last stage of this Recollections of the Wind event, and we will be using the Hestia Knife in 3 attacks. We'll use the Hakugen for 3 attacks and compare the damage. From there, we will go on to another scenario where we will use one of his skill attacks and see what that does. So we're gonna try everything, and we'll do multiple tests and see exactly the difference between the two. Of course, this also will be better because in order to get better results, we need to make sure that the numbers are the same for the same type of attacks. Of course, sometimes the attack can be guarded, it can be penetrated, it can be crit. So we're gonna try our best. We're gonna try our best, and we're gonna try our best to compare the results, okay? So let's go into the last stage. So like I said, it's a completely controlled scenario. No other units, no other assists, no assists on Bell either, no memorias either. Along with that, to ensure it's completely secure, no armor as well. So there's no addition of agility or anything from like a breastplate or anything of that sort. It's only the Hestia Knife and Bell himself. Okay, we're going to be using this Bell in order for our testing to be as accurate as possible. Okay, So let's go into it, shall we? So like I said, the first part of this test is going to be 3 normal attacks from Bell. So no changes. I'm going to just straight up attack and see what happens. So we got an 8,209 crit. Now we will hit him again because there's no buffs, there's no debuffs on this boss. It's one of the reasons why I decided to go into this boss fight, to be quite honest, because we don't get debuffed, he doesn't debuff himself or buff himself or anything of that sort, so we should be fine. So we'll do another one. 8,300 crit. We can do another one. 5,600 penetration. So let's just try and get a normal attack in. There we go. 5,158, and we also saw a counter for 8,000. So that's pretty good. Overall, I would say we got a good couple of numbers there. To compare, we got 5,100 for normals, 5,600 for penetration, and if I'm not mistaken, criticals were 8,100. Okay, so let's take 8,100, 5,100, and 5,500 as the basis for our numbers for just normal attacks, right? So now what we do is we go into Bell. Let's switch out the Hestia Knife for the Hakugen. So now we can actually see the Hakugen in its full force. So let's filter by Physical Dagger and the Hakugen. So to give you guys an idea of what the Hakugen has, right, is that it's got critical, 30 STR, and 30 AGI. Really, really good. This is probably the best setup you can put on a Hakugen in my personal opinion. Hestia Knife, of course, has only the 2 criticals and the unit effect. One thing to note about the Hestia Knife is you can't replace the stats. The stats it gets is the stats it has. It doesn't get anything else. You can't rehammer the statistics. You can't rehammer the attributes. None of that. It's got what it's got, basically. I don't know why it says statistics. Stats. There you go. So bear that in mind. So let's switch to the Hakugen and let's see for ourselves. Now you can already see a difference. It's a small difference, but it's a 40 power difference. And mind you, I have 30 plus STR on this and 30 agility on this. In theory, the 30 plus agility is actually going to be the game changer here in my personal opinion, okay? And I'll explain why I think that later on in the video, actually. So let's go in with Bell into this fight and see the damage difference on normal attacks now. All right, so let's do it. So criticals 7,700. That's a 400 difference. Now we obviously he sealed us, so we can't do anything. But let's keep going. 7,800. Keep going. 5,400 penetration. Now in terms of penetration, that was only 100 difference. Let's see if we can get a normal attack in somehow. Obviously we're getting counters, but we're not getting a crit counter. We got a crit counter last time and it was 8,000. As you can see, 5,000 normal attack. You can tell that there is 100 difference on lower attacks, but criticals, the gap increases by nearly 400, which is surprising to say the least. I thought it would have been more like 200 to 50 maybe, especially with the physical attack being that close, right? So that's something to keep in mind. So let's come out now. Let's come out and let's try this one more time, but let's use a skill, because what my thought process is that the higher the damage it is, the higher the difference between the two weapons is going to be. So in my personal opinion, we're probably going to see a lot more damage in this test basically, and we'll use only one skill. We'll use the last skill and that's it. I'm not gonna try and do the all attacks and stuff like that, because that should allow us to get an idea of what the damage is like. And in order to make sure we get our hits off, now I'm going to introduce a ornament, a seal ornament, which wouldn't have any stats or anything of that sort, so don't worry, it's not got any ascension attribute list. The only thing it has is that, well, the opponent will counter less and you'll basically get hit for less basically. So don't worry, this has nothing to do with increasing our damage. And even so, we're going to be testing both. So let's go back to the Hestia Knife again, and we'll try it again. And what I'm going to do is, while that was going on, probably you guys must have seen the differences in damage. I'm going to be taking screenshots so that you guys can see the damage difference between the two. I'll show you guys the normal attack difference, the critical attack difference, and the penetration difference, so you guys can see it for each test that we do. It'll hopefully allow you guys to get a better idea of exactly what we're doing in this situation. So Physical Dagger, where is Hestia Knife? There it is. All right, so let's switch to the Hestia Knife again and let's get going. And this time, like I said, we're gonna do our last skill. And then finally, for the last test, what we're gonna do again is we're gonna introduce an assist for Bell exclusively and no other units or anything of that sort, and see how that works. Okay, so let's use Vortex. Vortex is super water physical attack damage plus 80% per target's physical resist reduction. We don't have to worry about that. That's not something we should worry about because we don't have any physical resist reduction here. So let's see. So that was 11,000 penetration. Let's keep doing it. 16,400 critical. I want to see if we can get a normal. 10,942 damage on normal. So we got the whole range there. Let's move on to Hakugen. We'll move on to Hakugen and see the difference there. Now, I'm expecting, like I said, I think the scale will be increased wider, like the differences between the two will be wider purely because we've scaled up in damage. And so I'm imagining it's sort of like an exponential increase, sort of like, you know, it'll start gapping over time. I at least believe that's going to be the case. Or even if it's a steeper line, for example. So like, for example, imagine this is the Hestia Knife and this is the Hakugen. I'm imagining it being like this. So the Hestia Knife goes up in damage, whereas Hakugen does have a linear increase, but it's only a linear increase. But we'll have to wait and see. I could be wrong here. I could be very well wrong here. So let's pull up the physical and dagger. There we go. Let's switch to the Hakugen. So now I'm expecting, like I said, a huge difference in damage, in my personal opinion. I'm expecting a huge difference in damage. So let's see. So if I'm not mistaken, oh my god, I've forgotten the damage from the Hestia Knife already for critical. We'll have to try it again, I think, maybe, because I can't remember the critical one. I remember penetration normal was around 10,000 plus, basically 10 to 11,000. So let's see. So critical here is 16,000. Ooh, 10,200 normal. Of course, we had 11,000 nearly on the normal from the Hestia Knife, if I recall correctly. 11,000 there. So maybe it's similar. 17,000 crit there. So obviously there's going to be some variation there. 11,100 on the penetration. I think we might need to go back to the Hestia Knife. Maybe we might need to hit it a couple more times because we're getting some variations in the damage there. You might have noticed it. I'm gonna go for the kill here. May as well farm some items here while we're here. But I'm surprised. I feel like we might have gotten less damage from the Hestia Knife. That is a shocking result, considering earlier on we did get a lot more damage from the Hestia Knife, especially on crit, compared to the Hakugen. This is very interesting because, and the thing is, the reason why I say this is because I was gonna say the Hakugen's actually potentially better for players in war games because the agility is so much better. It's so useful. I've always said this, plus 30 agility makes the world happen when it comes to, you know, war games, right? But I felt like Hestia Knife would have been better in modes like Wreck-It Buster and stuff like that. But in all honesty, if the difference is that similar, you could take advantage of agility, because you have to remember agility also provides you with a lot of stuff, like, if I'm not mistaken, it gives like critical rate, counter rate, and guard rate as well. Maybe I have to double check that, but if it gives that, then why wouldn't you go for that? Okay, so that was critical plus penetration. We don't count that. That's 18,000. Critical plus penetration at 17,000. I think the penetration is increasing it quite a bit. 11,000 on normals, like we said, it's huge. 16,500 on crit. You know what? The Hakugen might be better. It honestly might be better. You might want to craft the Hakugen. I genuinely cannot believe what I'm seeing. Wow. The damage difference isn't that high. And like I said, you're getting a lot more out of the Hakugen. And plus, remember, I could have probably gone for plus 10 STR instead of plus 30 agility. That probably would have made a difference as well in terms of damage, giving us that extra little bit of damage, you know? I don't know. I actually don't know. All right, let's add an assist and see for the final time what our damage is going to be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a let's add who do we add here? I don't want to add somebody too strong, but the thing is, we're going to be doing the same test. So we'll just add this Ares for now. He's going to give us the STR boost and everything. P-res down, penetration and critical rate down, which is great. All right, let's try this now. So we're back on Hestia Knife again. Again, you guys probably saw the last test results and seen what the results are. We're going to do the same thing again, but we're gonna go straight for Vortex this time. We're gonna go straight for Vortex and see what the case is. So 45,000 there with critical penetration rate, 44,700 on critical, and 30,000 on normals. Again, now if it was based on what I thought was the case, right, where, you know, it would differentiate, this would be the case where it would. So we saw 44,500 I think on critical, and around 30,000 I think it was on normals. So let's see Hakugen. Let's see Hakugen and let's see the situation. Now, of course, we're gonna go through these a little bit faster. So what I'm gonna actually do, I'll do one more run on Hestia Knife, just because I want to get better results in case, because only 3 hits doesn't really allow us to see what's happening right here, in all honesty. So let's see. So 46,000 critical plus penetration, 46,500 critical, and 43,000 critical. Okay, so let's take an average about 44,500 from this. Let's say criticals is 44,500 effectively, 44.5, and 30,000 normals I think it was, right? So let's see, I need to increase my stamina. I'm just gonna pump a lot of stamina, and I'm gonna have to auto farm anyways later on, so I'm just gonna do this right now. Let me do that. There we go. Let's go into the event again, and let's switch to the Hakugen. I'm astounded. I am genuinely surprised by these results. These results were shocking to me, honestly. I'm astounded. I'm actually astounded. I wasn't expecting it. All right, let's see now. Vortex, 43,000 critical. Okay. Let's see. 45,000 critical penetration. Hang on a second. 45,000 critical penetration. Now, I know on the Hestia Knife we had 46,000 critical penetration, and the only crit we saw there was the 43,000. Let's play again. Let's try this again. Let's give this one more shot, one more time. Interesting. This is very interesting. I didn't mean to do that. I didn't mean to do that. Vortex. There we go. 29,000. That's 1,000 difference. 42,500 crit. 29,000. 44.2. I want to try it again with the Hakugen. I want one more attempt. I want to get the highest possible results we can. Again, these are, one thing to note, by the way, is that these are obviously very inconclusive because I'm only doing very short amount of runs, right? These aren't super in-depth, but I'm seeing the damage difference. 44.2 for 28, 43.8, 45 with crit penetration. Why is it that maybe the second results we had weren't very conclusive? They weren't very good results then, because from all of a sudden the Hestia Knife has just shot up again. I need to bring back the Hestia Knife. We need to do one more attempt on the Hestia Knife because we're getting way better results with the Hestia Knife again. So maybe I'm right. Maybe when you start scaling up more and more, you're gonna get more and more of a difference. I genuinely think that's the case. So 43 critical there, that's fine. 46 critical there. 46.5 critical and penetration. Okay, somewhere on your screens right now, I'm gonna be showing you guys the differences so far. I think I'm still right. I think it is still better. I think yes. I think I'm gonna say it. Yeah, I mean that last critical penetration rate was just confirming it for me. But I genuinely believe that it is most likely the case where the Hestia Knife is still better for dealing damage. But I feel the Hakugen isn't too far behind. The Hakugen is very strong. I wasn't expecting it to be that close, to be honest. It's only realistically, it's only what? That was 1,000 damage difference, 1,000, 2,000 damage difference. It wasn't that much at all. It really wasn't. And I feel like the second set of results weren't the most conclusive, in my opinion. I feel like we might have been a bit too quick to judge on those. But I feel like this is very telling that the Hestia Knife is way stronger. It's way stronger, 100%. In terms of dealing damage over time, right? And that's the most important thing, because once we go into Record Buster, you're going to want to deal as much damage as possible. And on the other hand, you're gonna want to deal, you want to go fast, you want to go speedy, you want to make sure your Bell is going fast in war games. So maybe the Hakugen's better there. I think it's well worth building both of them, but if you're trying to build one of them, I think the Hestia Knife initially is probably the better choice. I want to do one more run on this. I think we're on the Hakugen, by the way, right now, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm gonna just I'll double check it later on. But 11,000 normals, 10,300. 18,000 critical plus penetration, 11,500 penetration. Let's see the critical, 16,200. Okay, I think we're on the Hakugen right now. I'm pretty sure we're on the Hakugen right now. Let's see the Hestia Knife now. Let's check the Hestia Knife again. All right, let's see. Hestia Knife, Hestia Knife, Hestia Knife. This is very interesting. I'm very surprised that these second results, the one that I'm doing right now for testing purposes, is so similar. Whereas once you go into the higher phases, it just becomes much more exponential. Is it similar? I feel like, the 11,000 penetration, it is similar. There's realistically no difference at this point in time. But then in the first phase and the last phase, the last set of results we got, there's just a huge amount of difference. Wow. Okay, I'm just confused. I'm really confused. I still believe, like, I think based on those last set of results as well as the first results, I mean, just looking at the results in total, I genuinely believe that Hestia Knife is stronger, but I think Hakugen is really good for war games. So if you want, I think the best way to end this video and probably, you know, reach a result and conclusion is by saying Hestia Knife for Record Buster, Familiar Rush, and stuff like that, and the Hakugen for war games and familiar war games is probably where I would go. But I think that's pretty much where I'm gonna call this video. I can't really say much more than that. Of course, if any veteran players have tested this weapon in much more detail, put it in the comments. Of course, if you enjoyed this video, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. I will be doing more stuff like this in the future. I actually have one more video idea as well that I want to do for a specific unit signature weapon, because it's one unit's weapon we've always complained about, but we'll do that in a later video. Once again, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I will see you guys next time. Bye bye everybody.